if you're new, that, you know, definitely that's a great place to start. If you've been doing it for a while, you know, you can easily mix and match. So what I've done is I've put the plate mate on the hard side of the starter kit, and I've slotted the plate into there so it sits perfectly in there. I'm going to take the parchment, put it over the top, and stick it down with groovy tabs, which are in the accessories kit.
So let's give you the details for that. You get a few real staple items in here, don't you? So you're going to get A5 sheets of the clear parchment paper, you've got the guard, and you also get the groovy tabs. What would we use the guard for here, Tina?
So the groovy guard, I'm just going to rub this with the tumble dryer sheet. It will help the tool glide easier. So what the groovy guard is going to do, it's going to hold the parchment down for me and keep my icky fingers off the parchment.
Icky fingers. That's not a technical term, is it? Icky
in my
fingers.
world it is, because I mean I've got lotion on my hand, and lotion, most lotions will leave marks on your parchment, for example.
If you get a bit nervous when you're parchment crafting, you get sweaty hands.
And at this time of the year, we always have a bit icky hands.
Icky, I love that word. I'm going to use that.
So, you know, definitely if you're starting, it's worth putting this into your basket.
It's a 2-1-1-6-8-2
if you want to
the
parchment down. So I'm just going to hold the the groovy guard over there, and I'm going to run the tool. So I'm using the number 1 tool. I like to go over 2 or 3 times. That's just my personal preference. But I know a lot of people, a lot of crafters just do it in one go. I think if you're new, you know, have a play. Don't be frightened. You know, by the time you've done 5-10 minutes, you will get the feel of how much pressure you need to put. I think the thing is not to worry, you'll go through, because the tools are made to fit within the groove, so it's highly unlikely you're going to go through.
And I guess the thing is, you know, you're going to find your way with this very, very quickly, aren't you? It's one of those things that, you know, after a couple of goes over, you're going to really find your way. And look, I mean, the likelihood of you getting it wrong is very minimal. You know, that's the joy of the groovy system. But if you do get it wrong, it's just a piece of parchment, isn't it? You know, which is very, very cost effective. And I guess that great to go through the groovy parchment which you have on the show today, so because you know you're getting the utmost quality there when you go for that. And it is, of course, included within that starter kit, the details of which are on your screen. 5, 3, 5, 6, 3, 2. Lots of you going for that today, which excites me, Tina, because that means lots of people starting their parchment journey, which I always think is an exciting time for any crafter.
And it's just so nice. For me, when I do the line art, I say this over and for me, it's magic. So what I'm doing is the circles, I'm going to emboss them inside to white, so which we call white work. Okay. So I want a softer outline, so I'm doing those with the number 2 tool. It'll be easier to emboss in those if I don't have a crisp white outline. So anything you're going to do, like emboss completely on the inside for the white work, you would emboss with the number 2 tool. So all of these circles, I'm not going to do the whole frame, but I just want to show various elements. And then turn it over to the number 1 and do the rest. So one of the things I did is on the card, let me just do this little bit. And
it's quite quick, isn't it? Once you get into the, forgive the pun, into the groove with it, it's quite fast.
It is, and you know, things like ovals, circles, I mean, even straight lines. With the groovy system, you get such perfect shapes. If we were to trace and then go over, I don't think we would get as perfect lines as with the groovy system.
My producer Emily and I are on the same level. We were both on the same page. We're both thinking, what happens if you do jump out of the plate? So we're going to ruin our work.
No, so if you jump out, basically where there's no grooves, nothing's going to happen.
Amazing.
Like there, I just jumped out. Where there's no grooves, you're not going to mark the parchment. So all these circles I want to emboss, for example, so I'm doing them with the number 2 tool. In between these lines, I'll go with the number 1 tool
And you can
because
really
I
see the
want
difference
them
there, can't you,
white.
between the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, so when I turn it round, you'll be able to see the difference. So what I've done is, if I just explain the two things, is I've done the framework. I would do the scallops all the way around, this ribbon bit here, and the inside frame. I haven't done the other square here, only because it was my personal preference, but you can do, so you can put in as much as you want and leave out as much as you want. I'm just going to bring one. I have done where I've embossed out all the lines for just that frame part, so I can show you the next stage. So I'll just put that on the side, and
We've
if
got
I
some questions
bring,
coming in, Tina, as well. If anyone has got any questions at home, because I know what it's like. You see crafts like this, you think, gosh, would it work with this? Can I do this with it? You know, can I use it with these products? Drop us a line, studio@creatingcraft.com, and whilst we've got Tina here, we'll put those questions to her.
So yeah, so that's the framework. So there's the scallops, there's this the rectangle and the ribbon. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to put another line around there, just so that I could frame the scallops, because at the moment, if I was to leave it like this, there's no line, and because I want to do picot cutting in there, I needed that extra
What are we
line.
calling that cutting technique, sorry, Tina?
Picot cutting.
Ah.
So we use the bowl 2 needle tool and parchment scissors or burger cutters, which I will demo in a bit.
Perfect.
For that. So you can see I've started putting the lines there, and to put the lines along there, all I did is, we've got a straight line here. We're going to move it along. So I lined up the corner, the end of this to the end of that, from there to there. Let's get it straight. And I'm just going to stick it down so it doesn't move. There we go. And all we do is we emboss that line. There we go. So now we've got frame just inside the scallop. Would be
amazing.
So let me just show you what it looks like with the number 2 tool. So this is where we emboss with the number 2 tool to get the softer white outlines, because those are we're going to emboss, and then the rest is with the number 1 tool, and you can see the difference between the white of the number 1 and number 2. After that, what I did is I will show you one where I've put all the images in. So that's the framework done. So the next, what I did is...
And that was set number 1 we looked at there,
So that was set number 1.
And this one being from set 2.
So the main element, I've used set 2, the fishing boat. So I just embossed the fishing boat and the frame outside it, leaving out the happy retirement. So instead of the happy retirement, because there was space there, I have used the birds and dropped, well, a few hundred birds, it looks like, in there, and just moved it around to just fill it out. I mean, you know, it's waiting to get hold of the fish I've got.
Of course.
So that's why there's so many.
You've got to be careful.
Yeah,
I once had an ordeal with a seagull at SeaWorld in Orlando, honestly. My life flashed before my eyes, Tina.
So gone fishing is the sign from there, gone fishing at the bottom of there, and then the little birdies from there, because there was a bit of space, so I put a bit of that. And then the fishy is this fishy here, just outside the frame. So that's our main element. And then take time to relax is from set 2 of,
Always good advice.
Take time to
Always
relax.
good advice. Well, the question in is from Val Knox in Edinburgh. Absolutely gorgeous part of the world.
Yeah.
They have lovely fudge there, Tina.
They do.
She said, I thought Val said, hi, love. I thought it was, it's quite a casual greeting. It wasn't. It's hi, love all things groovy. I've done a few of the plates, but I don't know the best way to stick my finished work to the different types of papers. Could you help me, please?
So I love using brads, for example. So normally I tend to use brads to attach my parchment to the backing paper. So here I've used the brads on the companion paper. Personally, I like that. There is also the corner punches that Clarity have. You can stitch if you wanted, in the corners.
Loads of different ways.
Lots
I guess,
of different
could we
ways.
use an adhesive if we were going to, you know,
Do
use
not-
anything to, but we'd then
So,
have to
for
sort of
example,
cover it, I guess. wouldn't
Cover
we?
it, yes. So I wouldn't recommend, well, do not use wet glue to
No.
stick your parchment down onto backing paper because one, it will show, but any wet glue will start making your parchment buckle because
don't want that,
parchment
do we?
doesn't like liquid. So if you do use, say, double-sided tape or anything, you need to make sure you cover that
course.
because on certain papers it will show, on others it won't. I think, you know, if you're going to use double-sided tape or tape run or anything, I would, on whatever paper you're using, have a little scrap that you try it on, stick it on something and
Great
see
advice.
whether it shows. But my personal favorite is definitely brads and stitching
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
put. So
I hope that helps. About any questions that anyone else has got, please do email us. studio@createandcraft.com is where you need to send those into.
okay, so once I had the space, I wanted to put just some texture into that box there. Because I didn't add any of the other elements, I wanted just some texture, like on here, something but not too much, because like I said, I wanted that image to stand
Of
out,
course.
but I wanted something. So what I've started putting is the dots using Josie's embossing